I wanna kill, I wanna destroy, I wanna use my energy to fill the void. I shall travel through time to the depths of the mind, power my dreams with destiny divine.
And we're recording. This week, February 15th, Major League Rugby cracks off with his the 8th season of existence. We've got 5 games on tap, and I have brought in, no matter what I've gone through with Major League Rugby, this guy has remained steadfast. Even when they lost a team, he would go down to San Diego for games. But Chad in California, man, how are you doing?
I'm good. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Keith. Ride or die, MLR aficionado. I'm here, man. Love it,
Uh,
dude.
just for the fans out there, just to know that yes, you were close to the fires that happened. Did you guys have to evacuate at any time, or were you guys pretty clear?
No, I mean I could see the fire. I sent you my picture of me with the
Yeah,
selfie in the back with my RFCLA hat on.
yeah,
Um yeah, it was, I mean, I could smell it, obviously. I could see it from where I was. I could see the fires, and it was pretty insane, but
yeah.
I didn't have to go anywhere. But I do work in property casualty with AAA.
Ooh,
So, I
you're
did
busy
have people.
right now. You're busy right now.
Oh, we had people coming in saying I lost my house, and it's like,
Yeah,
kind of gut wrenching and stuff. It's
yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Well, it looks like everything's trying to bounce back there. Obviously,
Yeah.
we have games to look forward to. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the
Mm.
first game of the 2025 MLR season. We have Old Glory DC visiting the Sharks in Miami there on the 15th. Predictions from you, man. I'll let you make your first prediction, and then if we agree, we agree. If we don't, we don't.
Totally understand, and it's hard for me because I'm super competitive on Super Brew, so I'm going to give out my picks on this.
Oh yeah,
So, don't be biting off my when I'm picking everybody. So okay, here's what I'm thinking. I really like this Miami team. Second season in, I think they're going to be in a new stadium now. Are they at the same place, or like Miami? Like they're
I think they moved as well to
right.
a different facility. They were sharing a facility with what is that? Miami Inter Miami FC. They were sharing their
Yes.
practice facility. So they have
Right.
made a move, and it's DC at Miami. I have my opinions about DC, and I'll make
Yes.
them known.
I think
um,
I'm gonna take DC in 7. I think they're gonna come through. Yeah.
oh, man. I'm actually going with Miami and 10
Okay.
points. Having
Ooh.
Cabelli, having potentially Tincho Elias at 10, like they do have some pretty solid guys there. Old Glory DC took a big step back. They've lost arguably who I thought was one of the best scrum halves in the entire league, and Danny Tuasatala. He has gone. He's done with MLR. Um, yeah, it's so you're picking DC. I'm picking Miami by 10. Next up, we have the other expansion team from last season. They will be visiting the NOLA Gold there at the Shrine on Airline in Metairie. It's right by the airport. It's going to be a swamp. We have had a cold front here in the south, but it doesn't matter in the south. The humidity remains no matter what. I'm going to go ahead and give you my pick on this one. I have
Okay.
picked NOLA by 16.
Ooh, I'm pretty close there. We're gonna have first game by a rookie head coach in NOLA, Danny Lee. When I
Yeah,
say rookie, I mean first year in playing there. He
yeah.
obviously is with San Diego for a
San Diego
while.
for many years. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you watch the quest for the Shield with San Diego, and I actually talked to the owner a couple weeks ago, and we just had a funny conversation, which was awesome. But I highly encourage everybody on Amazon to watch Quest for the Shield. Is awesome, and then you see like Danny Lee. I got a Danny Lee story. A couple years ago, San Diego was had a little scrimmage, and I think who were they playing? They were playing LA. And I just saw Danny Lee carrying all these boxes of like equipment and stuff to the practice, and I'm thinking, man, there's no NFL coaches in the world that would
oh
do.
yeah, no,
They're
yeah.
never gonna touch that stuff, dude.
No.
Solid guy. He's always been awesome. So first year for him. I'm really looking forward to it. And then they also they just picked up Luke Hardy.
They went out and
Yeah.
got a really good coaching staff. They've got a former Highlander on the coaching staff there. It's his first year coaching. I think NOLA makes a big push this year. I mean, they obviously came in second in the Eastern Conference last year. I think this year they're going to be up there. Like, I think they're
Yes,
going to be a super competitive. So, what have you got? You've got. I assume you picked NOLA as well.
I took Nolan 12.
Yeah, Anthem has added a few pieces. I don't know if Sam Gola is going to even be playing. He still seems to be rehabbing after his injury. They did add Jason Tidwell, the former Jackal, who really blossomed last year. His dad will be at the game.
Nice.
If you look at Anthem's roster, they still kind of seem to be like the spare parts team, and
Yeah.
I just don't think they have it to go against NOLA yet.
With Anthem, they just picked up Mitch Wilson from the Free Jacks.
Jacks, yeah, they did pick up some pieces here and there, but it's like they need to get a little bit more, I think, to really kind of step up. Next one, another team, a team that finished with an amazing record last year and then gets knocked out in the first round of the playoffs by a team that no longer exists. That would be the SaberCats. They will be hosting Chicago. Um, this is going to be, to me, this is the game I really, obviously, I've got the SaberCats jersey on. I've got the closest ties to that program, having got engaged at a game there. So I'm going to let you do yours first, man. What do you think? Houston, Chicago. What are you going with, man?
I think this is going to be a slugfest. This is the one game that I think is going to be the closest that they have. I really like the winger Nathan Brown. He's going to be in his second year from Notre Dame. I really like him. Lucas Rumble, I believe, is still. I mean, I haven't really looked at the roster, but he was with the club. No more Billy Meeks. He's now with us.
Yeah.
And so I really like Chicago, and I like what they're doing, and I think they're going to be much better this year. And I'm going to go with an upset on this one. I'm going to take the Hounds and 3 points.
Man, I'm going the exact opposite. I've got the SaberCats by 20. I think that they went out, they got Juwandi Oliver, who was arguably one of the best nines in the league by the end of the season last year. They're repacked. They've still got all their classic guys. They still got Davey Kutzer, who to me is one of the better. He's not the best 10. We'll get to him in a moment.
Amazing.
But they've got a really good solid squad. Obviously, the exit, the end of contract for former Springbok skipper Heineke Meyer. He is back in South Africa. His son is the forwards coach. They still have Pote Human, the guy that got in a fight. We still remember the two old guys going at it, and he got suspended, obviously, for that. And then the guy who I hated on until I actually met him, and we know Hedy Labuskakne, he is back. He is going to be playing this season. So I just think, I think Houston's going to be one of those teams that ends up at the top of the heap. So that's why I go with 20. And you got Chicago by 3.
It's a big one.
The next one, the big one, obviously the home opener. They have moved to UCLA. What is the name of the stadium they're playing in again?
Annenberg Stadium.
Right there at UCLA. It's a classic stadium. It looks like an older stadium. What does UCLA actually use that for?
That I really don't know. I would probably assume it would probably. I don't know if that's their soccer stadium or whatever.
I think they built a bigger, so maybe it was the old soccer stadium, maybe. But
yeah,
perfect size for MLR. It's not too big. Should get a decent crowd there. But you're welcoming the Free Jacks of New England. You did add some pieces. You got Gonzalo Bertrand this year. Yuri Van looks like he's healthy and ready to go. He's a super mobile lock.
Yep.
But it is New England, and they do have the 3 defensive players of the year for the last 3 years are all on New England, and the offensive MVP for 2 of the last 3 years is on New England. I didn't make it a huge, but I went with New England in 16.
You know what? Here's the thing, man. I vote with my head, and I do not vote with my heart. I watched the first half of against the Fijian Drua.
Yeah,
pretty solid. Okay, and then I was at the scrimmage against San Diego a couple weeks ago, and I think they're going to be way better than this year than they are in the past. But I just think that continuity with the Free Jacks is going to be too tough for them.
Yeah, the addition.
I'm going to go New England in 10.
okay, Geronimo Gomez, Vara, and Vian Carrati are going to probably be arguably the best flanker duo in the entire league this year.
Yeah.
And of course, the best 10, I don't think there's much. Jason Petrov is the Taranaki boy. He's still at it. He's still doing it. He's still really good. At 33 years young, he's still the best 10, arguably, in Major League Rugby. So the final game on the weekend, it is the Sunday game as Seattle, the runners up last year, will be taking on Ama'a Nonu less. Godot was there for a year, but Ma Nonu done finally retires at 43 years old, I believe.
Mhm.
Welcoming Seattle. It's I guess the big stars now for San Diego are the aging Marcel Bracchi and Ryan James. Those are going to be their two big offensive stars in the back. I I'll let you. What was your pick for the final game of the weekend?
So this one's such an interesting one, as the league is still in its infancy. We talk about rivalries, okay? And without a doubt, this might be up there with the number one rivalry. I mean, we go back to, I think, 2019 when
Yeah.
Seattle came and won the grand final, the final in the last minute. Was that 2019 or was that
So they
2020?
won the first two. They won in 2019 and 2020, I believe. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
then 2020. I think that was the one where Seattle came in and scored at the last minute off of, I think it was off a mall. There's a lot of animosity between these teams. And this is where the fireworks happen, and I know that San Diego really is really going to be gunning for them. And so, with that in mind, I think for this first game with San Diego, with a new head coach, I'm going to take San Diego in 7 points. I think it'll be fairly close, but I do think it'll be close.
I did the exact opposite. I went
Okay,
with Seattle in 16. Just looking at that roster at Seattle,
16. Okay.
16. Yeah,
Yeah,
you look at like they've got three locks, two of which are capped internationally for Canada, the third of which has over 60 caps for the Sharks in South Africa. He was due to be Bongi Manombi's replacement. He decides to come to the US. They've got Krill. They've still got solid. They are completely stacked in talent. Alan Clark has built a solid program, and I think Seattle's another one of those teams that I think really ends up there at the top once again. And I kind of to segue into the last portion of this clip. I think San Diego takes a giant step backwards this year.
interesting.
Um, I don't think they end up at the bottom by any means, but I think there's going to be three, potentially four teams at the top, three, potentially four teams at the
Yeah,
bottom, and then you'll have a couple in the middle there. The three teams I think at the top, definitely Houston, Seattle, and New England at the top.
yeah,
Potentially NOLA also at the top.
yeah.
Um, and then the bottom half of it is as much as Anthem is added, I still think it's still going to be a bit. They didn't get a single win last year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that way this year.
No,
I
they'll
think
get a couple. Yeah,
they'll fight to get three or
they'll get a
four.
couple scalps. Yeah,
I think Utah is going to take. They're going to. They look on paper. I mean, they completely blew up that roster in the
yeah,
offseason. They've brought in a lot of Kiwis in Utah, and I think that they're hoping that that turns into something. But I
yeah.
think they could be a middle of the pack team. But I think the bottom rungs of the league are probably going to be Anthem and DC. Those are going to be the
That
bottom.
probably makes sense. Yeah. What's
Um,
really I was going to say what's really interesting about Seattle too is they brought in a guy named Ian Watson, and Ian Watson is he's a former rugby league coach from Huddersfield.
there's a
Um,
couple of those this year in the league.
yeah, and so I'm really excited. I'm really interested and exciting to see how that happens. At one time, Lee Radford was supposed to be going to Dallas, and that didn't turned out. But now he's over at Northampton, and they just won the grand final last year. So it'd be kind of interesting to see like some of these defensive schemes that Lee guys bring over. But I agree with you on the pool on the results. I definitely I would say Anthem may get like maybe two or three games this year.
Yeah, I still think that like you're gonna see that gap. I think the teams that could be middle of the pack teams, San Diego, I put in there. I do put LA in there. I think Chicago is in that hunt.
Yeah,
but I think San Diego was in that area, but I don't think San Diego is where they've been the last couple of years, just because of the absence of so many key players there and a new
Yeah.
coach. And um, with LA, obviously, you guys, Sam Harris is there now, right? Is
Yeah, Sam
yeah,
Harris here.
he's
Saw
your,
him a couple
he's your
weeks
back,
ago.
he's your
Yeah.
backs coach now, right? So
Stephen Hoyles.
so
He
you've
was
got
yeah.
yeah, you've got a good solid coaching staff there.
Dave Dennis. Yeah.
You guys what had five wins last year?
I
Yeah,
think we had 4.
no, I
Gosh,
think you went 5-1
we
and
had
10. You
5?
think
Oh
five
gosh.
one and 10.
I should know that. But was it 5?
It's
Yeah.
5-1 and 10. Yeah, I
Okay.
actually
5
think
one.
you guys improved to like 7 wins potentially this year,
Yeah.
7,
And
8.
there's a couple close ones. Yeah.
So I think, like I said, I still think it's going to be a struggle. I think the team that's going to probably take the biggest fall this year is probably going to be DC. They were a playoff team last year. I don't even see them even sniffing. I think they're going to struggle to get 3 or 4 wins. I just don't
Yeah.
see a lot there. But yeah, I still think it's going to be the same 3 teams at the top
Mhm.
because they're the 3 most established programs. They all have. I mean, Seattle has a great program up there in Tukwila. I think that's how you.
Chick-fil-A, yeah.
And then you've got obviously New England playing in Quincy, Mass. I really wish they'd get
Support.
I wish they'd get them a stadium. They need to do what they did with Houston with that. Find a little plot of land and build them like a little stadium because they've got the fan support, obviously. They do really well in attendance
Mhm.
there. And
I think I think Quincy and I think it's the Veteran Stadium.
yeah,
I think that's a perfect fit. I mean, the lines kind of suck a little
that's
bit,
what
but
I
they
yeah.
really made it their own.
I wish they'd get like a real grass pitch. Kind of
Yeah,
like
it's so
and I
hard.
get why they don't because it's up north and it's harder to maintain that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like why they don't have it in Seattle. It's too wet. The field would stay
Yeah.
muggy all the time. Um,
One other thing too we didn't talk about, the big news, man. How's everybody going to watch the games this year?
ESPN Plus. I'm guessing the Rugby Network is still going to carry it, but they're going to carry
Yeah.
it on like the tape delay, so it's going to be like
Yeah.
it was. Um, do I think this is? I mean, they announced it like it was going to be on regular ESPN, and then you kind of saw in the tiny writing, it's like no ESPN Plus, which you have to pay for, obviously. But
Right.
if you have Hulu, you can get it added, and it's like $4 or $5, I think. But
Really? So I didn't know that. I did not know that. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's ESPN Plus is a
Mm.
premium package, I believe,
Okay.
but, it's good to
Just
see it
a
actually.
oh,
I mean, I really would like, and I know local television stations will be carrying it as well, like, NOLA got a deal, like, pretty much for the Deep South. It's gonna be airing on TV there, so, like,
yeah.
HD TV, so it's, like, 36.2 and stuff like that, so, like, I mean, it's not like a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to kind of promote the league a bit more. Um, but it's still a bit of an uphill climb, obviously, because most people don't know we even play rugby here.
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
And you're going to be heading to Vegas soon, and there's probably going to be 30,
Yes.
40,000 at every one of those games. And we really don't play league here, but we do, what I mean? Like they play league in California, but not really here at all. And, you know,
Nobody knows the difference between league and union in this country.
unless you're,
There
unless you're a rugby person.
I mean, yeah, but that's so far and wide when I tell people that I love rugby league and rugby union, they're like, "What's the
What's
difference?"
the
You know what I mean?
difference?
It is, it
Yeah.
is, it's like it's meaningless. But what I'm thinking is what we have to do as fans, right? And I got a list of people, as I got to bring people out to the games. I got to let them experience how great this game is, and just kind of explain it to them in layman's terms, right? No timeouts, no play clocks for the most part, a little kicking action there, but
Yeah.
just you get tackled, you recycle the ball, and this is what it is. So just kind of introducing people to the game and how beautiful it is.
Well, luckily you live in a city with enough people to where if they just got like a taste of it, they could get a pretty decent fan base here. It's a little harder to do here, but
Yeah,
yeah. So once again, my picks. Once again, I've got Miami, NOLA, Houston, New England, and Seattle, and you have gone with
I have gone with DC, NOLA, Chi-Town, New England, and San Diego.
okay. You heard it here first. You heard it here last. And hopefully we'll have you back next week, and we can kind of do the same thing next week. Go through this once a week and just look at the schedule and kind of chit chat about this because it's a lot easier to talk about it with somebody that actually is invested in it a bit because you
Oh,
live here
big
and you're a
time.
fan of the league. Can't really talk about this with my friends overseas because they don't really like it's not something they invest time in or really even care to look at because there's just so much other things going on. So,
Are we
but
gonna get a fair weather Super Brew pool?
I don't like running the. I tried doing one during the rugby championship, and it's just too much of a headache to deal with.
Well,
So
I have one called the Lads. If anybody wants to join, THELADS. It's
hold
for
on, let me put
MLR.
that
If
in there.
anybody wants to play,
I'm
man,
gonna put that on the screen here.
awesome.
The lads
LADS.
on Super Brew. Is this your MLR one that you're
Yeah,
doing here? Okay.
yeah. Everybody go out to a game, support your local rugby club. They're good dudes. It's a fun, exciting sport. Humble guys.
It's on there. The lads on Super Brew. So you guys
Thank you,
go check
brother.
it out, and we will have you back again soon here,
Man,
Chad.
I
Be
appreciate it,
safe,
man.
man,
Thanks for
and
having me, Keith.
enjoy the weekend. I'm sure you'll be sending me photos from the game.
Will do, man. Send you some vids.
Cheers, man.
All right, man. Cheers.